This citizen, Gloria Aquino, deck officer on the spaceship's flight crew, finds herself in the small American city of Oak Ridge, Tennessee in the year 2059. As a member of the city government's public relations department, she is playing a key role in the preparation of the 100-year anniversary of the city's inauguration, which involves unearthing a time capsule that has laid dormant since 1959. There is some old lore surrounding the time capsule, in that it is not exactly known why it was placed there, or what the contents are within it either. Library archives of the day it was buried are intriguingly scarce, with entire sections of old newspapers having been removed, in what appeared to be an attempt to almost erase the entire event from history. The 100-year anniversary would have possibly gone by completely forgotten had it not been for a team of hospice staff clearing out the possessions of a deceased resident and finding a series of photographs of the event in a photo album. The event showed the city mayor and what appeared to be other dignitaries standing alongside the capsule prior to its descent into the earth below. A small newspaper clipping detailed some of the items that lay within: a wristwatch, a pipe and tobacco, a map of the city, and several other ordinary items of the time. However, one item in particular stood out to them all, and it was some form of carving showing a horned owl hovering over a house. One of the ladies who had Cherokee Indian ancestors was horrified at the sight of this, and once calmed down explained that it was an extremely bad omen and should be left where it lies at all costs. Her co-workers thought she was insane to buy into such superstition and were quick to present their findings to the city officers so it could be added to the promotional material for the centenary event. Gloria was somewhat taken aback by this find and raised her concerns with the mayor immediately, recommending that the event be cancelled. Word spread quickly about the potential contents of the time capsule, and the principal chief of the Cherokee tribe condemned the event. The mayor, the organization committee, and the majority of the public, however, completely ignored his protests and continued on with the preparations. In the nights leading up to the event, odd things began to happen around the town. Car accidents had increased in frequency, as did workplace accidents and injuries. Many put this down to people being preoccupied with the pending celebration. However, some reported sightings of a Cherokee medicine man in areas around the city each night, soon after sundown. The city was divided on these sightings and the events that people assumed were linked. The principal chief supported the claims of unfortunate events being connected, but denied any involvement. He repeated his warnings daily, and it became clear that the town was slowly becoming increasingly paranoid. The mayor's office held an emergency meeting with the topic of discussion being whether or not to go ahead with the centenary celebrations and the unearthing of the time capsule. The debate carried on for several hours, with the ultimate outcome being that they would indeed go ahead, as the mayor declared it would be ridiculous for them to give in to such unfounded superstition. Gloria wrapped up her work for the day and was leaving the city offices when she felt a distinct change in the air around her. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, and therefore made her way to her car as quickly as possible. On the drive home, she began to curse herself for not being stronger and failing to stand up to the ignorance in the room at the mayor's office. She knew that unearthing the amulet was disrespectful to the Cherokee people, and she felt horrified that it was allowed to go ahead. "I'll put a stop to it," she vowed, as she looked into the rear vision mirror to commit this to herself. It was then that she realized she was not alone. The ominous figure that sat behind her had been with her for the duration of the entire journey, and she stood on the brakes as soon as she had realized this. Gasping for breath, she managed to croak the obvious question, "Who are you?" "Not important," the shadow hissed back. "What is important is that you push for the ceremony to go ahead. It will do more for the plight of the Cherokee people than you can possibly imagine." Gloria was confused. "I don't understand," she questioned. "There's no need to. Just trust that what gets unearthed on the day will ensure that justice is served." And with that, the next moment she looked, the figure was gone. Gloria sat in silence, confused and alone. Catching her breath and trying to calm her heartbeat, which was painfully near bursting point, she was convinced she would endorse the ceremony for fear of not knowing what would happen next if she didn't. Unfortunate events continued in the town to the point where the Cherokee were experiencing more frequent persecution than usual, which, along with their silent protest over the impending ceremony, forced them all to temporarily leave the city. The day had come. Not a single full-blooded Cherokee Indian would be there to see it. Gloria was of mixed emotions. However, she was convinced that the medicine man she had spoken to had directed her to do the right thing. The capsule was excavated from its signposted location and put on display for all in attendance to see. An enormous crowd had formed to witness the opening of the capsule, all intrigued at what the full contents could be. The afternoon sky gradually darkened over the city of Oak Ridge that day, moments prior to the capsule being unlatched. The mayor said his token spiel to the crowd, twisted the cap, and lifted the steel housing off. A brilliant and sudden shock of blinding energy burst forward from the capsule, burning the eyes of every single person unfortunate enough to have been staring at it, and roasting their skin, hair, and clothing along with it. The device that had been excavated was not the treasured time capsule at all. That was actually still safe and secure much further down in the ground. The crew tasked with the excavation duties had come across, unbeknownst to them, one of the dozens of buried experimental nuclear devices clumsily hidden soon after the Second World War had come to an end. Back on the ship, Gloria's eyes wept blood, and the androids were completely perplexed as to what was going on in the A-19 cluster of stasis pods.